Okay, so sorry about that. So where were we? We are trying to explain this now that with L if you can bring in other conditions, okay, and evaluate them. And your else does not need a condition attached to it. So this is how the if works. And in your whatever problem you solve now, it's just like a tool. You can then use it to see, oh, do I need to check if this condition holds? I do that. If not, I do this, like that. I don't know if anybody has any question.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay.
When we put the first function if
Mm-hmm.
and then this else if, is it that you will not get same results, same output?
You are going to get the same output, but there's going to be
Hello?
like, can you hear me? In this example I gave, you're going
Yes.
to have the same output, but I tried to explain that your code will be kind of doing things it's not supposed to do. Okay. You know, when everything was individual if statements, you could evaluate, and at this point, you're supposed to just say your grade is A and go on with your life. But for instance, now, if you evaluate to be this condition and print A, your code, Python is going to skip all of this and go to the next block of code. If there are things here now, maybe there are some lines of codes here for it, okay, it will just continue its journey. But when you put all of them as individual if statements, the code will go through them one by one, be evaluating all of them. And now in this case, there is no overlap. Okay, there's no overlap, so it would have worked. But in some cases, there might be an overlap, and then you have a challenge. I don't know if that's clear. So this is more efficient. Is a better way to handle different if statements when they are linked, connected together. Like this one now, you just have one score, and you're trying to place the score either as A, B, C, D, E, or F. Okay, so you don't need to have all of them in different if statements because all of them are connected. The score should only be one of them. It cannot be two of them. Is that clear? Ndubisi. Hello, the person asked the question. Is it clear?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yes, I'm clear.
Okay, great. So that's it for this if statement. And then,
Yes,
Yes.
answered you.
Yes.
yeah. So one more thing which I need to mention. You know, I told you you could have more than one condition, right? Maybe with and statement, you could combine different.
Please, can you run this code?
Okay, let's run it and see. So let me remove all these parts. Save the file and run it. Python A4. So now it's asking us to enter our code. Which number should I enter? Let me say 85. So you see your grade is A, right?
85.
So if I run it again and say the person is called 29, let me see what we get. is F,
Mhm.
right? 29 is F. Then if you run it again with maybe 50, it should be C. So how is it able to tell is A, F, C? It's using this flow control. So once the code evaluates from this point, it asks you, it give you the score. It comes here, it checks which of these the score is going to satisfy and then interprets it. Okay. Although even if you look at this
65.
code, somebody can begin to say something like,
Okay.
oh, why do we have this second condition here? This particular code, I can optimize it by removing this condition. Okay, because I don't need to say and less than 80, for instance, because all of them are tied together in one block. But I'll leave it like this, just not to create confusion. So it's very clear what's happening. And I was about explaining again that you could have more than one condition with and or, right? You could use and or you could use or. Now, sometimes you might have and or in one expression. So you can have this and this or this. Let me say this condition and this condition or another condition. Score is or score, let me say is greater than 100. See, okay, but this will not work because anytime it's greater than 80, it will be settled here. So if I just say something like 80 and score less than or equal to 100. Let me just say now, for instance, any score between 80 and 100 should be A, right? And I'm now saying, trying to add another condition here that when the score is
You could the last time. Why will you do me like that today? Today
Hmm.
I've got the
Someone is disturbed.
I'm trying to mute the person.
Please, can you mute your mic, please? It's disturbing others.
Good. So you can have and or like this in one expression. But now there's like a hierarchy, right? In this order. It's just like we have board mass and then there are certain operators that should be evaluated before others. In this case, the and will be evaluated before or. Okay, which means this side of the code like this would evaluate first. And whatever it turns out from here is what it will compare with this part. I just wanted to bring that out. This expression might not necessarily make much sense, but I just put the three conditions with and or. And then the order of resolving them is the and first before the or. The and has precedence before the or. But personally, whenever I'm writing an expression that has to do with more than one or and, I try to put it in a bracket because bracket always helps. For instance, in this case, if I wanted to check this side before that, I will just put it in a bracket like this so that all of these we evaluate in the bracket. You know, bracket also is higher, right? So bracket, things in bracket will be evaluated together before it will now consider adding it to this or even if I have an additional and, I try to bring in those brackets because it defines what you want to do properly. Otherwise, if you leave it for the computer, the first thing it will evaluate is and before or. I just wanted to bring that in. I'm undoing it so that our code will be the way it is. Okay. Simple, right?
Okay.
Does anyone have any question? So in the absence of question, I think that's it for this lesson. We've gone through the if statement in 3 ways. Let me remove all these ones from comments so we see them better. Again, I say the if statement, you have your if and your condition to be evaluated, which must either be true or false after evaluation. And then you can have some expressions after the if. Now, there's also the if statement with else alone, and if statement with multiple conditions, and else. You don't have to have else here. You could also even end this with another end if. So that somebody will not say, oh, you must have else at the end. No. It could also end with if. And then maybe a condition. If score is less than 30. You could also end it like this. There is no law that you must have an else in the end. You could also end this way. Okay, so let's look at the text. See if there's anything we've missed. Aha, common mistakes. This one, good. Now, you have to watch out for this. When you're trying to make your if statement and check if something is equal, you don't use this equal to. You use double equal to. Okay, sometimes we make that mistake because Python is just like you're trying to just say it like English. Oh, if this is equal, if x is equal to 1, and you now put it like this. In Python, this is not checking if they are equal to, but this is an assignment. The equal to sign is an assignment. Why this one is the one that checks if they are equal. Okay. And when you keep practicing, that's when you actually get to overcome this, because you might make that mistake 1 or 2 times. So I think that's all for this chapter. Then we face the exercises. Let's solve number 1. Since like we have small time. Let me bring number 1. So what did he say? Write a program that asks the user to enter a length in centimeter. And if the user enters a negative length, the program should tell the user that the entry is invalid. Otherwise, the program should convert the length to inches and print out the result. There are 2.54 centimeters in an inch. Okay. So pretty simple. It's like what we've been doing before. So length is equal to EVA, because we want it to be numeric, input, and then the enter length in centimeters. So this is how you collect from the user. And then we want to check this length. If you could say if the user enters a negative length, we should tell him that it's invalid. Okay, so it's an if statement, right? Because a condition you want to evaluate. So if length, how should it be? Can anybody tell me? Quick one. Can anybody supply us the condition, how we should put it? We want to check if the length is negative.
So what do you ask us to do?
Okay, let me just say if length is less than 0, and anything
Less than 0.
yeah, anything less than 0 is negative. So you say if length is less than 0, what do you do?
Minus.
You print what? The entry is invalid.
Print. You entered an invalid.
Okay. Let's say you entered an invalid number. So that's it. Now I can choose to do else, and then I put my computation, or I can even ignore the else and go to my computation. Okay, no, that will give me a problem if I do that. So I think the else is better. But if I were in a function, I could have just ended the program with the if statement. But let's leave that. So here, else, what do we do with this thing? We convert it. How do we convert it? They say that there are 2.5 centimeters in an inch, which means 1 inch is equal to 2.5 centimeters, right? Then 1 centimeter will be equal to 1 over 2.5 inch. So in that case, we'll just convert it. I'll use the F statement now. But let me just do this and see. No, okay. Inch will equal to okay. So in this case now, what I'm saying is we get the length, we check.
There's no F in the print.
No F. Yeah, I know. This is another type, another way. So I said if it is less than 0, you just print, you enter. Let's try it out if it's working. So we'll see.
Okay.
Okay. So okay, the other guy is still there. Let me see. Or maybe I didn't save it. I didn't save my file, so save it. So run it again. No. Why no? Why is it printing no? Oh, okay. All these guys are still then comment. Save.
Check up. There's a place you use yes one.
Hmm? There's a place I use what?
Yes or no. Up.
Yeah, I've commented it also. We are now here. So enter length in cm. And so we said 100 cm.
Okay.
Or let me say minus first. Let me test it minus 20 cm. say you entered an invalid number, our if block is working. And if you run it again and put a valid number of 20, it says 20 cm is equal to this inches. Does anybody have any question? Quite easy, right? Now, someone said something I forgot the F, which is a good observation, but now you can see that I have format here. Okay. There are different ways to create a formatted string. This is one. You could just write the string. What I did here, I knew that.
You know, the last lecture you told us that whenever you're using the
The what? Go ahead. I'm listening.